Okay, hello everyone. How are you? Sharon here. Just hang on a second, just got to see the little spinning wheel is saying it's going live, but I've got to check to make sure that is all working. A spontaneous live again here today on my page, I Restore Stuff, and I'm going to be painting up a small IKEA crate. So let me just show you. One of these crates comes with in a few parts. So I've got the small version, you may have seen a larger version. These are the ends of the crate, so you always got to make sure you've got the handles up the right way. So we've got the two ends, then you've got the two sides, and you'll see how it all fits together. Obviously there's instructions with IKEA crates, but hey, I've done a few of these, so I'm pretty sure I've got it, how to get it all together. And then this is the base. This is the inside of the base, and the outside has these two wood pieces on it. So I'm going to be staining that today. Hi Vicky, thanks so much for joining me. I'm just going to be staining this with Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint. And if you saw my live over on the milk paint page a couple of weeks ago, I showed you how you can create a stain out of any milk paint. And it's really a lot of fun. So to start with, let me know you're here, say hello, give me a wave, but I'll show you a sneak peek of what we will be creating, something like this. So what I've got here is obviously all my milk paint sample boards are here in this box, but this box I used last Christmas to hold a small Christmas tree in at the front door. And so I've added some grain sack stripes. Hi, who's that? Patty, how are you? From the USA. It must be surely your bedtime by now, Patty. So I've got Christmas trees written on the side. These are all stencils from Essential Stencils. So if you follow me as an ambassador over there on their page, you can get all your Essential stencils from there, and they are coming out with some great Christmas stencils, which we don't have yet, but they will be available for pre-order very soon. So if you are from the USA, they are wonderful. So this is the kind of thing I'm doing today. All I'm doing is staining a IKEA crate. So this is the small crate, and I'm using Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint in the colour Curio. Let me just find that for you. This is the colour Curio. It's just a brown colour. So you can see this white side here is where I've added some white wax, and on this side here I've added an antiquing wax, so it's a little bit darker. But in the centre is where you'll see the true colour of what that brown looks like, or any of the colours that I've done my sample boards in. So it creates a lovely stain when you water it down, not just, that's as a paint, that's quite dark and solid. But when you're creating a stain, you want to water it down so that, hang on, I'm going to have to put my glasses on, guys, so I can read some of your comments. Hey, guys, from Minnesota. Guys, is it not bedtime there? It's only 10 p.m. All right, so I've got your attention over there in the USA as well. Don't forget, if you do want to order some of the stencils from Essential, on Friday, they release pre-sales for their Christmas stencils, so use my code, I Restore Stuff, and get 10% off all of your new Christmas stencils. But they do have the older ones there, so there's that. I'll be going live there 8 p.m. tomorrow, USA time, so make sure you catch that live on the Essential Stencil page. But right now, we're doing milk paint, and I'm using the colour Curio. Now, milk paint comes in packets. It's a powdered form, and you just add water, and you make it as a paint. But today, like I said, I'm going to be using it as a stain. So I'm going to make up a scoop of powder to 3 scoops of water. I've just got a little salsa jar right here because I like using those for the wide mouth on them. Hang on a second, my husband's hooked me up right here with a really cool switcher so I can show you a downward view. How's that? So now I can show you what I'm working on, and you'll be able to see it. Do you feel like you're upside down? I hope you can see this okay. All right, so there's now 3 scoops of water going into 1 scoop of powder, and that'll create a stain for us. So you can adjust that amount if you want it to be even lighter in colour or tone. You just add more water. And if you want it to be darker, you can add more paint. You can also layer it. Once you've got the stain on, you can layer that and create, a bit of a darker look on it. So I'm just mixing that with a whisk. You can see that there, until all the powder is mixed in. And that's all there is to it. So we've just created a stain, and it's quite watery. So you won't be able to see any drips coming off the whisk. Whereas if you create a paint with Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint, the actual use, the main use for it is to create a paint. You use equal parts water to powder and you'll get a pouring cream consistency. So it'll come off the wire whisk in a steady stream, sort of like pouring cream consistency. So there's our, stain all mixed up. And I'll just show you on one of these boards, for example. Let's just take the main base board. So this is an IKEA crate, if you've just joined me, and it comes in 5 parts, super easy to put together. But what I like to do is to just stain it all while it's all apart before I put it together with the screws that it comes with. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm just using one of my Klingon brushes. This is a Klingon flat 40, so F40. And all we're going to do is, if you've got any questions about milk paint or painting in general, so there you can see it's just staining the grain. Now, if I wanted to, I could get a cloth and wipe that off, or wipe it back, wipe off the excess. I'll just kind of let it sit there and see how much it soaks in. But milk paint on raw wood goes really well. It soaks in to the grain of the wood and you won't get any chipping or flaking. However, if you put milk paint on already pre-stained varnish, you might get some chipping and flaking. And for that situation, if you don't want that, it's better to use their bonding agent. Now I can see there's a little in between there. I want to make sure that none of that blonde wood is showing through. Hi Carol, hi Diane. Thank you guys so much for watching. Okay, so that's the stain going on there. You might see a few little streaks and bits and pieces. And I always like to stain the whole entire box. So going over here, whoops, going back onto the base. I should have done this first. Would have been easier to let it dry. I've got still quite a bit on my brush. I'm trying to hold this without getting my fingers paint on them. All right, so you'll be able to see that as it starts to dry, the stain, you'll be able to see the grain of the wood through that. Like I said before, I could get a cloth, I didn't bring one close, and wipe off any excess if I don't want it that dark. How does it go over? 80s pine. So Zoe, you must be talking about as in like the orangey looking pine furniture that you see. So if you're doing it over that, that's actually got a varnish on it. So most of those, orangey pine looking pieces from the 80s, I'm going to just sit that on top of here so I can stain the underneath of it. They will have a varnish already on them. So if you're wanting to stain something with milk paint over a varnished piece, you're going to have to remove all the varnish, and because staining, for any kind of stain, you will have to remove all the varnish with a sander or a stripper to get right down to that really raw wood. Because if you don't do that, you're actually you're not staining, you're just laying stain on top, and it's kind of just, it actually won't stain it. It'll just sit on top of the existing varnish. So you really do, if you're going to do that raw wood look, get it back to raw wood and stain it. So staining actually penetrates the grain of the wood itself. So if it does have a varnish on top, you need to wipe that off. So that was really quick and easy. We've done the base. You should be able to see that starting to dry. It's a rainy day here today. As it dries, you can see that lighter bit right here. As it dries, you'll start to see it getting a lot lighter in colour. But then when we go over it with a sealer, you can kind of just see a sneak peek right here of this box that I've already stained. And Kathy says, I have that crate and didn't know what to do with it. There you go. Oh, I'm glad. I don't know if you saw on the side here, I'll show you another look at what I've created. I did that one last Christmas. So this is a great idea for a little Christmas tree box. And you'll be able to see somewhere on my page. I might have to find that and share it in the comments later. A link to where I did do the stenciling on this box. It could have been on the Essential Stencil page actually. Created some little grain sack stripes. It's actually a cool day here today in Queensland. It's usually a really nice sunny state. But I'm feeling cold today. We're supposed to be in spring. It's rainy. I'm actually testing out my little video camera setup that my husband's done for me here today, so that hopefully I can do this again tomorrow on my live with Essential Stencil. And I'm thinking of doing a fun stenciling project with terracotta pots. Let me just grab one and show you. I won't show you the finished look, but I'm going to be playing with these tomorrow on the Essential Stencil live, so look for that. And that'll be over on Essential Stencil's page. So I'd love to have you join me. They always do great things for their watchers, and they give away prizes and things, so that's a lot of fun. But thank you guys so much for joining me here on my page. Kathy wishes it would rain. Hi Kerry from Redland Bay. That's really close to me. Not far at all. How's the weather at the bay? Vicky says Melbourne's beautiful today. Oh, that is wonderful. Just got back from walking. Are they still on a 2-hour outside time limit down there, Vicky? I'm wondering. My boys are both in Melbourne, so get to chat with them every now and then, and making sure I'm telling them as their mother, you need to get outside when you can. They've got a 2-hour limit, I think, because of lockdown that they're in right now. And, whoops, sorry guys. So yeah, get out when you can. Get in the sunshine. I'm so glad it's sunny in Melbourne. They need some sunny days. It really is, cheers you up when you've been locked inside for so long. Those bright sunny days. Okay, the only thing with these crates is trying to get all of the areas covered. Sometimes you have to get a thinner brush or just kind of smush it down here in these little grooves. We'll just do the smushing method to get those really inside bits. You can still see a little tiny bit of blonde wood right down in there. So I'm going to just get my brush and smush it down in there. And I think we've got that covered. And then just kind of tidy up those bits where I've just mushed my brush around. So as I lay that down, again, we start to see this one over here. See those areas, the light colours? They're the areas that are drying. Okay. So I'll just show you, I'll stop and have a little show and tell. Hang on a second. Of the crate that I did last year. So I was showing everyone, this has got all the samples of all the different Miss Mustard Seed Milk Paint colours in here. You can see this one is kitchen scale, I believe. So the centre colour is the true colour, and then there's a white wax added and antiquing wax added. So those are my display things. But here is the Farm Fresh Hot Cocoa, a little bit of grain sack stripes on the side. So that's one I did last year. Christmas trees, stencils. So I actually had my small Christmas tree in here. May even have a blog post that I can link to that. A little farmhouse on the side. So that, see, when it's not Christmas, I can actually just turn the box on its side and you still don't know that it's, for Christmas trees. A little farmhouse sign on the side. Farm Fresh, spruce, pine, fir and cedar. So you'll probably find those stencils on the Essential Stencil website if you do a search and search for Christmas. Don't forget to use my code, I Restore Stuff, and you get 10% off all your stencils at Essential Stencil. And I was telling everyone just earlier that they are actually... Oh yeah, it's Wednesday is the live. I keep thinking it's Thursday because it'll be Thursday my morning. But yeah, use my code I Restore Stuff, you get 10% off all your stencils. And I was saying that they're Christmas sets, which I've seen a sneak peek of. And has anyone seen their sneak peek? They've got some gorgeous Christmas stencils coming out. They go on for pre-sale live on Friday, so don't forget to use my code there when you're doing those. But this is such a fun project. So staining these, you can create a really lovely farmhouse kind of rustic wood look. Whoop. And again, getting in there with those grooves. And I showed you over on a milk paint live maybe it was 2 weeks ago where I did that. Sorry, I'll get you in there. I showed over on the Miss Mustard Seed milk paint page how you can stain with just absolutely any colour in the milk paint range. I'm just kind of smushing my brush in there as we chat. Christmas stencils are the bomb this year, Joyce Ann says. Yeah, they are really lovely, aren't they? Some of the stencils in there. What was I saying? I can't remember. Yes. So there must be a bunch of people here from the Essential Stencil lives that I do, and wondering if anyone saw the Miss Mustard Seed milk paint page live that I did over there with the staining, and how I stained with the colour boxwood, which is a lovely dark green colour. Used that as a stain, and also red. I stained with their tricycle red. And that turned out lovely. So some of those red and green colours for stains, can you imagine staining a crate in one of those colour stains? Let me just flick this over so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Yeah, using those red and green colours for Christmas time works great for all sorts of different project ideas. When you're staining backboards for signs and things like that, you could do. Got any other ideas for boxes? Let me know if you've got ideas in the comments what you could do with your crates. Has anyone else painted an IKEA crate? You could also, what I've done before too, is decoupage napkins on the sides of the crate. You stain it in a colour first, and then you decoupage with a napkin that's kind of coordinates, or you pick the paint colour to coordinate with the napkin that you're going to decoupage on there. So if anyone wants to see that on a live, I could do that sometime. Show you how to decoupage napkins as a background for a sign. So that's a lot of fun. Carol says, yes, pick me. All right, so then these are the sides. I'm going to do these long sides. And as you can see, I've got this one over at the side here that's really drying. Every time I bring it over, you can see it's dried more and more. So the lighter areas. Now, once I put so see how that, it looks light, but on the box here, over to the side, I'm pointing with my brush here, over to the box side here, you can see it's actually darker than these light areas here because it has a sealer on it. So milk paint and chalk paint are both porous paint, so they have a porous finish. And they do need to be sealed. So otherwise they'll have a really chalky finish and they can get, dirty marks easily. And so I always seal them with a finish. Like, there's a few different finishing options. We've got some lovely hemp oil in both the Miss Mustard Seed milk paint range and also our artisan chalk paint range here in Australia. So there's hemp oil as a really beautiful sealer. Then there's waxing, so you can wax your crate to seal it. Waxing, I just love the feel of wax. When it's been buffed and it's shiny, it creates a lovely sheen. It's not glossy or anything, it's kind of like just a lovely sheen. I like that word, sheen. And then you've got your tough coat sealers, like a wipe-on poly, kind of a varnish that you can also seal your pieces with. So with this crate here, I think I just sealed that with a varnish. It was kind of quick and easy. Waxing might take a little bit extra time because you can, you've got to buff and mush it in all the little crevices and areas. SJ says, I would make a plant box with it. Absolutely, SJ. Good to see you here, my friend. So SJ, you could probably make a plant box for your new house that you'd just moved into. That would be fun. What colour would you paint it? Love to see some ideas. Some more ideas. Anybody else got some ideas for painting your crate? Either staining it. What colour would you stain it? So we've got, this is the colour Curio in milk paint, and I've just mixed 1 part milk paint powder. So milk paint comes in a powdered form. If you missed the instructions earlier, and you just add 1 part, usually to make it as a paint, you would add 1 part powder to 1 part water, just mix it and create a paint. But today I created a stain, so you always need more water for a stain. It's kind of just watery paint. I'm just trying to get the brush in the grooves there. So I used 3 parts water and 1 part powder of the colour Curio, which is their brown, and created this lovely stain. So this has had a little sticker mark right here, but hey, we'll just cover that up with a stencil when we do our stenciling project. I might actually wait for the new Christmas stencils to arrive from Essential Stencil to finish this crate off with some stencils kind of similar to this idea. They do have some gorgeous pattern stencils, so like snowflakes and little pine trees, I think, which are a really great idea. Hey, Laurie from Elmira, New York. Lovely. So Laurie's asking what was the stain you're using. I hope you heard that. I'm using Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint in the colour Curio, and I've just created a stain using extra water. Instead of creating a paint, I added water to create a stain. So 3 parts water, 1 part powder. Stain it red and fill it with greens, embellishments and a bow for Christmas. I love it. Great idea, Laurie. Lisa, that was. Sorry, Lisa. Yeah, very good idea. All right. Hi, Janine. If anyone's got any other things that they'd love to learn in lives like this here on my I Restore Stuff page, I'd love you to tell me in the comments if there's any painting technique, anything about furniture painting, sign making, any other tips that you'd like to know about. Let me know in the comments and I'll see if I can arrange for a live on those kind of topics. The other thing that I do is I have lots of tutorials, video tutorials, on my YouTube channel. That's I Restore Stuff. So I am found at I Restore Stuff on YouTube and on Pinterest and on Instagram. You'll see I love hanging out on Instagram in the stories. You can find me there. But on YouTube, if you look up I Restore Stuff on YouTube and find my channel, subscribe to my channel because you'll receive a lot of these live videos. If you've missed something, I sometimes upload those to my YouTube channel, and you'll find a whole bunch of video tips and tricks on using, things on chalk paint, on milk paint, and painting furniture with mineral paint too, fusion mineral paint. So lots of fun tutorials and helpful tips on there. I even have a video tutorial there on how to remove antique handles, drawer handles from an old vintage piece. You know those handles that often get stuck because they've just got a little nail, a tiny little nail, they're not screwed on or anything. And so how to actually lift them without breaking or bending your handles. So there's lots of great tips and ideas there. And the other thing that I do is I help people who would love to grow their hobby into an actual real business and make money from selling your signs and your furniture or your creative pieces. It doesn't have to be furniture painting. We've got a group, a VIP group, a membership group for those who are interested in growing their hobby to business. And now that's closed for intake at the moment, but if you wanted to be on the waiting list, I can drop that there into the comments while you just have a little look at that. Let me just find my little link here to my I Restore Stuff VIP club. And in that, you'll learn all about taking your business to the next level, taking your hobby to the next level and making it into a business. And it's a lot of fun. I'm having so much fun with all the ladies on there. So I'm just going to pop that into the comments. in our group right now. I'm teaching them and showing them things like how to go live on Facebook, on your Facebook page, or how to do stories on your Instagram, how to increase your social media following just to get more engagement and sell more of your painted pieces, how to style your pieces and how to take good photographs of them, things like that. So we're having a lot of fun in that group. We're actually doing coming up in our group, we're doing a practice Facebook Live session. So we're doing that. So that's a lot of fun. Thanks, Laurie. All right, so I've got the base and everything painted. What I'm going to do next, so if you're going to stencil this, you would want to do that before you seal the piece. So see how that's really drying. So the dark patches are where it's still not dried, it's still a bit wet. So once that has dried, then I can stencil my words on, like I've done on this box here, on this crate. You do all your stenciling before you seal it, especially if you're going to use a wax. You can put your stencil over the top of like a matte sealer, but I wouldn't put stencils over the top of wax because it's just going to fall off. Wax is resistant, and same with oil. So if you're using hemp oil, it's going to be resistant to that finish. So always, always, whatever artwork or whatever designs or anything else that you're going to put on your chalk paint or your milk paint or your mineral paint, do that first before you put your sealer on, okay? So that's what I'm going to be doing next. Not on today's live though, because I've got to wait for our Essential Stencil Christmas stencils to arrive, which is going to be really fun. But I may put it all together and then do the stenciling, because then you can kind of see where it all goes. So if you need instructions on how to put it all together, let's do that now. So I do need my screwdriver drill though, but I won't do the screwdriving bit. I'll just show you how these go. So if you see this on the bottom here, you've got a gap which sits on top of here, but this has no gap. So this is going to be the top. We've got a little gap here, but no gap up here. So this is going to be the, move it over here, the top of our base, our side. And the same with this one. We've got our gap here, and so that will sit on this side. I usually do actually a side and a side and an end at the same time, and same with this one. We've got a gap here on this side but no gap on the other side, and our handle always goes up with the curve facing the top for your hands to grip onto. So that just sits in here. What happens is we drill these holes first, so we get our screwdriver, screw them in here, screw them in there. I didn't bring my screwdriver over, so I'll just show you the basics, but it is so easy to put together, and these are just from IKEA. And that one goes on there. So we just have 4 screws that go inside each edge. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our 4th one. And then once those are screwed in, we flip the box over and you do 4 screws in the top. And these are longer screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's done. So then I would probably wait till that's dry, do my stenciling. Whoop. Obviously I don't have my screws in. Do my stenciling. So I'll wait for my Essential Stencil Christmas stencils to do that. Stencil before assembling makes sense. Yeah, I do that sometimes, Kathy. It does make sense to do that. With this one I didn't though, because I'll show you the stencils on this one. I wanted that grain sack to go right to the edge, and this piece here, it sort of gave it a little bit more finish by making that stencil go right over the ends. And so in this case, I thought I'll do that with the grain sack stripe so that I could, you know, make that go on the end. But you don't have to do that. You could do it beforehand. Absolutely. Very good idea. So that is all for today. And I hope you enjoyed that live and got something out of that. Learned how to stain using milk paint. You can also stain using chalk paint by just adding a bit of water. Experiment with it. Get a plain raw piece of timber. Remember to do staining on raw wood. It won't work over the top of varnish, because what staining is, it's penetrating the grain of the wood to add colour into the grain of the wood. So hope you learned something from that live today, and I'll see you next time that I do a live here on I Restore Stuff page. Don't forget to join me on Essential Stencils page tomorrow. So that will be Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Brisbane time for me here in Australia. But if you're in the USA, that will be 8 p.m. I believe, Wednesday night. So see you then. Bye.